welcome back to the Rabbit's Chair. And last week we managed to get the garden done, managed to move one of the tractors and a little bit of work around the stage while being rudely interrupted by the sheep. This week we're going to have to shear the sheep because there's a kind of window in the weather and days are getting warmer, so it's time to shear them. We're also going to do some other jobs, so we've got a bit of the stage to do, a little bit of work on one of the caravans and some work on the front of the carousel. So yeah, let's go, let's see what we get done. So horses field, and then there's usually some ducks playing around in this field, and then today doing their food we found that under the hay, so I'm going to leave it there, see if they come back. They may have left it, but we shall see. We'll keep an eye on it. So the egg is still here somewhere, there we go. So the egg's still there, but there's no other ones laid with it, which is a bit strange. Normally there'd be a clutch, but today, just over here somewhere, look very carefully, there's actually the duck. I can't see her now, there she is. So today we're joined by the duck again. Usually there's two males with her. She's just sat. There. Oops. I don't know what she's doing. But she's been very close to us today, and she's not joined by two males, so I don't know whether they're sitting on a nest somewhere else or what, but we'll keep an eye out. So it's nice to see those ducks again. They've been around a few years, but we don't normally get quite as close as that, so we'll keep an eye on them. The weather's been so nice, but it seems to have brought the pollen levels up, and while we were busy doing some things the other day, we had a bit of a medical emergency with one of the cats. So let's go and have a look how he's doing now.
So Leo has just had an asthma attack, and he's had to be rushed to the vets yesterday, and he really wasn't very well. But he's feeling much better today. The only problem is he has to have medication in the morning and at night now. But we don't want to keep him in, so we thought we'd try taking him out on a harness and a lead for a bit. See if he can get used to it. He used to be on when he was a kitten, but we stopped because he just likes running around the farm. But we need to keep an eye on him with the way his health is at the moment. So I think he's having a nice walk, and he seems to be quite happy on it. And he's brought me over to check on the horses and the alpaca, which is quite nice. And they all look like they're doing alright. I'll come back over in a minute and check them a bit more properly when I don't have a cat. But he seems quite relaxed. I think he's happy to be out and he's feeling a lot better.
So yeah, we obviously didn't get any footage of the worst part with Leo, but it was quite scary at the time, and we're keeping an eye on him, and hopefully with a few bits of medication we can keep him going with all the pollen. So yeah, things should be okay. So now let's shear the sheep. So while we were busy clearing up and shearing the other, the rest decided to escape again. So we're going to have to get them in. It's mostly these two that lead them astray. Come on, in we go, you two. Let's try again. So we found out where they were getting out, because I did a bit of following them earlier on, and Edward's just witnessed it for himself. So now we have to put a piece of fencing across here, it's better than that, to stop them jumping over. So that went fairly well. Only escaped once, twice, and not much pain when they were kicking out. So yeah, while Ed was doing the shearing, I was sat making some tubes. So let's see what they're for. So while Ed's been shearing the sheep, I've been making these tubes that will probably turn into a piece of artwork as well, but in the first place they're just sort of like a functional tube to stop, well, hopefully stop the sheep from attacking the trees. So we've got 3 of those in here. I'm going to take this other wire down in a bit, and then 2 to fasten around the posts for the stage. Hopefully they'll keep the sheep off the tree, but time will tell. So we're going to need to clear the entrance to the carousel a little bit more. So Sally got hard at work with that. So let's see how she's been getting on.
So I spent some time in between everything clearing this space. There's a few bigger bits that are ready for rearranging here, but it's generally clear. There's a lot there to go in the skip in that end stable, and then there's quite a few bike wheels, but it's mostly clear on the front now, and Johnny and Ed are going to use the tractor and put the concrete water troughs in the front of here, so we can actually have some plants in it, make it look pretty. And we are moving the Nuffield from here and putting a Fordston Major here, because Edward wants to work on the Nuffield and get it going again. It's a bit of a long-term project.
So Sally's been hard at work clearing along the front there, and there's some big jobs to do up there, but we're going to show you those next week because they're quite long jobs. Now let's plant some trees around the stage. So we've come down to these 2 pillars that are at the front of the stage and set some trees. So we've got one on either side, and we've protected them with these little cage things. So we've made these little wire cages. We're probably going to turn them into a piece of artwork as we go along. So we've got one tree there and another tree at the other side, and hopefully they'll grow up and replace these posts that we've got in. So it's now time to water them to make them really happy, because it's a little bit warm today. So Sally's going to come along and water them. So our hose pipe isn't quite long enough. Okay, so we're going to look at this tree, because I think this one's actually pretty dead. So what we'll do is we'll replace this one, because this is the one that the gates kind of pulled up completely. Sorry, the sheet, not the gates. And we'll just put a fresh one here and protect it, and hopefully it'll last this time. We got away with the other two. It's got quite a nice wiggle to this one, and Sally will come and water it. I'll put the cover back over it. Oops. So that turned into a bit of a two-handed job. So I managed to put it in and secure it. And we now have these three kind of tubes sticking up. That's quite nice. Again, these might turn into a piece of artwork over time. But Sally's just going to give it a bit of a water. And yeah, let's let them settle in. So the other two trees survived a bit of the sheep attack. And they seem to be going on all right. So we'll keep an eye on those over the next few months, and hopefully over time they'll start to replace the posts that are there. So we're starting to look at the caravans as well. So we're going to look at the Elsa caravan and start to get it cleared up over the next few weeks. But before we do that, we thought we'd have a bit of a trip round it to have a look at some of the remaining artwork that have been left over from when people have been on residency here. So let's go and have a look. So this is inside the Elsa caravan, so we're going to start clearing this one up over the next few weeks. But I thought we'd give a little tour around to see some of the artwork that is in here. So this piece here is a clipper that we used to stamp people's cards when they came into some of the shows. There's a rosary there from C.I.A. We went to C.I.A. And there's some books along here. I don't know whether you can see those. And as we go through, some Frank postcards. A piece of work very early on in the caravan's history from Mark Scott Wood when he came over. Some hair and a bag. And we have a Zaza teapot. Some casts from, I think those are Sarah. And some other bits and pieces. I think there's a drawing in the corner there, a pom-pom, another hand. We go over the other side. There's a piece of ceiling art that we created at some point. One of the signs that you can't really read it very easily anymore. A sign from when Dale and Laura were here. Another pom-pom. Painting collected by Zaza. Some small casts by Zaza. And a boa, making its way down there, and a photograph of one of the performances of Sally at the tree. So yeah, that's a little selection of the work that we have within the caravan, and we keep adding to this as we go along. So yeah, We'll show you more as we get the caravan sorted out and as more artwork starts to build in here. So it's nice to have a look back and see some of the artwork that's been produced over the residencies. There's other bits dotted around the carousel area that we'll keep pointing out, but it's nice just to see a selection of it in the caravan. And we'll show you that space as it starts to get cleared up. So we'll concentrate on that one and do the other ones on the stage over time. So this week we've started clearing up outside the front of the carousel. We've planted the trees and tried to protect them from the sheep, and mostly we've been shearing sheep this week, so it took quite a while. Next week we'll have a look at the bigger jobs that we did around the front, and yeah, and have a look at the caravan, see how well that's getting on, and hopefully get back to doing some more of the stage. So yeah, join us next week from the Rabbit's Chair.